Weiler seems to not be on. Patty Fleming, do not see. Dale Carpenter.
Present.
And Heather O'Hara.
Here.
We do have a quorum though, Chair Smith, and this message is being recorded.
All right, very good. So I think first on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Is that correct? Yes,
that is
so
correct.
Minutes were included, so we've had a chance to review them. I take a motion to take a motion on the minutes.
Jason Small, I move to accept the previous minute.
I can't do anything here.
This is Heather. I'll
Motion.
second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion is approved. Okay, public comment.
Chair Smith, just a point to make, we didn't adopt the agenda.
I apologize for that. So, right, I saw, why did I see? I read minutes. Oh, there's the minutes. Sorry. So, first action, I guess will now become the second action, is to approve the agenda for the January 11th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
This is Heather. I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as written.
Thank you, Heather. Is there a second?
This is Dale Carpenter. I second that motion.
Thanks, Dale. All right. Any further discussion? Motion to approve. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda and we have approved minutes. So,
Mr.
moving
Chairman,
in.
could you add Barry Hauser from MCA as a guest with me today? He's observing here from our connection in Chicago.
Look at that. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you send me a spelling of that, please, Sarah?
Glad to. Thanks, Wes.
Public comment is our first agenda item, I believe. Is that correct, Wes?
That it is.
So any member of the public wishing to comment at this time? Seeing none, we'll move to our second agenda item, which is a legislative update from the good Senator Small and Representative issues that you feel we should be watching.
I guess I can speak to that. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Representative Buttrey, go ahead.
Okay, I think just the main update that I've got is the departments are looking at the economic development programs. There's various ones throughout commerce, throughout labor, even some within the governor's office. And there's the feeling which I've agreed with for many years, that we have a lot of programs. Some of them are funded very, with not a lot of funds. So they either aren't utilized, or when they are utilized, there's not enough funds available to make a lot of difference for employers and employees of our businesses. So there's an effort to revamp the programs, in some cases combine them, come up with a larger bucket of money, more focus on loan guarantees, low rate loans, secured loans, those type of things, versus the granting that's happened in the past. Not saying we're going to completely get away with the granting, but that will more offer it as far as financing and working with local banks and making sure that companies have the proper capital for training their employees and growing the businesses. Haven't seen all the legislation. We're just starting to see it trickle in from labor and commerce. And I'm sure as session goes on, we'll have better updates as to what those programs are going to look like moving forward.
Thank you, Representative Buttrey. Do you see those programs staying in commerce or some migrating into commerce, or is it too soon to tell?
Well, we've seen so far the incumbent worker training program out of labor. It'll remain in labor. We're expanding that to companies that are larger than 50 employees and creating buckets for different size categories of businesses. I believe most of the others will be handled through commerce. The good news is that Senator Small is chair of the Business and Labor Committee on the Senate side, and I chair the BNL on the House side. So anything that is going to change those programs is likely going to come through our committees. So we'll have chance to give input and report back to SWIB as to what the final disposition of those programs is going to be.
Great. Senator Small, any comments there?
No, I think Ed touched on everything pretty well. The bills are just trickling, trickling through on the Senate side right now. The House is moving a lot faster. We're not really seeing much of anything yet. I do know that one of Commerce is they've had a couple instances already where their money or appropriations is slightly hung up or not going through quite like they wanted, but I don't think there's an issue. At least nothing readily apparent at the moment. So I think we're looking good. I would venture to say 3 weeks from now we'll have a really good feel of how everything's going to go. So maybe even 2 weeks from now, but as Ed stated, it's a little bit slow yet. So we'll know a lot more directly.
Yeah, and I think, Big Sky is still going to be the big hitter as far as economic development programs. But as Senator Small knows, our coal tax revenue is changing significantly. And so we don't have the big cash cow that we've had in the past. That is certainly going to affect a lot of programs, including economic development programs. So we've got to make sure that we are continuing to invest in Montana businesses and in training, but we just don't have the cash flow that we used to have. So we've got to come up with different innovative ways to find the money, create more revolving funds, those type of things.
Thank you. So as I kind of learned along the way at the incumbent worker training program, it's our SWIB board takes a little bit of effort to pull everybody together to vote on supporting or making comment on issues. So I would say to the folks on the line here, certainly feel free to step up as an individual or representing your organization to support these some of these bills. And I would ask the senator and representative to, give us a heads up or a nod in the hallway someday if there's something coming up that you feel like we should really represent from a what would look like a SWIB priority.
Yeah, that would be easy enough to give updates as these bills come in, so we can keep you posted, Dave.
Fantastic, thank you. Anything else that the two of you want to share? We know your time is pretty valuable there. We want to make sure we're using it the best we can, but
I don't think that anything else. Jason and I work very closely together, and as things pop up, we'll make sure that it's relayed. But we're still, we're in second week, so things are just starting to roll.
Yeah, yes, they are. All right. Thanks very much. We understand if you need to jump off, but meanwhile, we will go to our next item on the agenda, which was sorry, I lost my agenda here.
Next item on the agenda, Chair, is the presentation from Gallatin College, and Dean Stephanie Gray is on the line.
Yeah, so
I'll pull that up.
I got it here now, thanks. So I had asked Dean Gray to maybe speak to us because of the CTE side of things in this community college, or the MSU Gallatin College plans, and I'm probably a little more involved with this or aware of this than some of the others are. So Dean Gray, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Would you like to share a couple comments about what the overall viewpoint is over there?
Yeah, I'm thank you for having me and inviting me. I would first like to take I have 10 minutes. I definitely want to take the first couple of minutes just to recognize the great infrastructure we have in the state. You know, I'm a part of a bigger system, and then I'll take the last part and really talk specifically about Gallatin College. This is just a sheet of all of our mission statements and our vision statement that all of our comprehensive 2-year colleges cover across the state that we all share. And just wanted to, you know, make sure you are all familiar with that. And then just logos of all the colleges, giving you a sense of, we have a really great infrastructure. We have a great training infrastructure in place right now through our 2-year systems. Thanks, Wes. There you go. And then this is just a visual of where all of the colleges are across the state. These, obviously, we have our 4-year system colleges on here too. And then I listed our tribal colleges. We definitely don't want to forget those partners in our training plans. I think we have good coverage around the state. There is also something to note that as a system, we do try to be respectful of each other's regions, and not, you know, I'm not going to go over to City College's region and try to recruit for welding students there, but I could go to the entire state and recruit for photonics and optics students, because I'm the only, Gallatin College is the only college that offers that program in the state. So we have a lot of those conversations. We all work together. Some of us share programs. Some of us are the only ones offering those programs for the entire state. And so we talk a lot about that and how to be respectful when we are recruiting students. All right, next one, Wes. Wes had mentioned to me that you all were, I'm not sure of the specifics, but there was some interest in what types of certificates that are offered at our 2-year colleges. I put a lot of words on this slide on purpose because there's a large breadth and scope of certificates that are offered at all of our colleges across the state. And I think sometimes a lot of our parents aren't aware of these, and our counselors aren't aware, but there are so many opportunities and so many different things that people can be training, short-term training. These are all 9 months. People refer to them as a year, but they're really a fall semester and a spring semester, or 2 semesters at the most. And those are all available at the different colleges. You can see there where they're available. And Wes has this slide, these slides that I'm sure he will share with you if you have an interest. And I know Joe's on the line, but this was just my quick research. Some of these may change, some may have more, and some may have less. All right, now to talk about Gallatin College specifically. I do just want to point out quickly that Gallatin College has been a 2-year college that has been growing in its enrollment. You can see there that we have been surpassing some of the smaller colleges, and now we have had continuous growth, and we now are up to 725. These are full-time equivalent students. So we're not a college. You know, we started offering our programming about 10 years ago. The community has responded greatly. Industry has responded to 2-year, 1 and 2-year training, and students are showing up at our doors. We do not have our own standalone facility right now. We are doing this, piecing labs together in different locations. We have a space that we have to lease right now, which I really want to stop leasing a space and use that money towards academic spending and training. And then we do use some space on MSU's campus. Okay, Wes, I can go move on. This is just to show you a visual of all the locations that we are at right now. We are running an avionics program at Bridger Aerospace. Our welding program is at the Bozeman High School. We have a lot of our programs in the lease space there at Gallatin College East is what we call it. That's the list of the programs there that are on our MSU campus. Our construction trades programs are at Williams Plumbing and Ambient Air, which are private sector partners, and Martell, of course, construction. So, I mean, imagine you're a student that has to take a math class at East Frontage Road and then drive get in their car, so they have to have a car, and drive to Williams Plumbing to take their lab courses in construction trades, or they're on MSU's campus and need to go out to Bridger Aerospace to take their lab work out at the aerospace location at the airport. It's not exactly conducive to quality learning. It is a little stressful on faculty also, them driving back and forth. Not having centralized administration isn't ideal either. But we are making do, and I think we're being very innovative and creative with how we're running the program, and we do like having those industry partners. And we'd rather go to those spaces when we are wanting to go there for something specific than relying on them for a lab space, because we are going to be getting kicked out of the weatherization center, I believe, this year, and they're running our HVAC program. Next. So these are just some bullet points about why we think Gallatin College needs a new facility and why we're working with the governor on that, and now the legislature on working on that facility. We're the only facility in the state that doesn't, or the only college that doesn't have a facility. All the other two-year colleges are operating at least 100 square feet of a building. So we have requested, the building that we think we need is a $46 million request for a career and technical trades building, and to support the future workforce needs in Gallatin. Well, it's really Southwest Montana, Gallatin Park, Mar, Madison, all those areas where we see a lot of growth in the state, and we think there's a lot of great potential for future workforce training. We've been working with the governor on making this a public-private investment in this building. The details of that haven't been worked out, but we are excited that the governor's been communicating with us about that, and some legislators have. We think we're very innovative. We offer one MSU classes, which is students take classes in Bozeman. They never have to leave Bozeman, but they're taking them with Great Falls. We are, as I've said, we're sharing spaces in all kinds of areas. We do a lot of cross training with engineering students coming and taking, welding students transferring to engineering is just one example. And that we are offering remote and hybrid learning where there is a need, if they can find employment in their local and rural areas. That's important. All right, Wes, I think, is that the last one? Yes, it is. So that is my 10-minute presentation. Very quick and fast. I hope it gave you some basics about why we really believe at MSU and Gallatin College we need a facility to support the workforce needs for the entire state of Montana, and certainly for Southwest Montana. And I will stay on for any questions.
And I would like to make a point. Thank you, Dean Gray. The presentation is on the SWIB events page that you all have a link to, and the public does as well. So if there are any questions, it's there.
Any questions for Dean Gray? I guess I asked that this be on our agenda for a discussion point just because of the critical skill needs that are out there, not necessarily advocating that we get behind this at this point, because there's still a fair amount of dialogue to happen, as Dean Gray and I found out. And I think that's the road that we're traveling down now. I mean, it's just the way it is. And so I think, so maybe Dean Gray, one quick question for you is that after the discussions that have been happening with the governor about, and you kind of prefaced all of this with the idea that you don't go outside your limits, you stay in your lane geographically where you can and where you have to. How do you balance, how are you thinking about balancing that with what the governor requested, which was this needs to be delivered statewide?
Oh, that's a great question, David. We do have some programs that we're the only ones offering them in the state. So those are easy, right? Photonics, optics, aviation, some interior design and CAD. But in those areas where we say most of our colleges have a welding program, perhaps everyone has face-to-face welding, but maybe they don't all have some remote aspect to welding. And I would argue we need welders in every single town across Montana, right? Maybe that's something that we could design if we had this training facility where we could offer as much as possible remotely across the state, and then bring students in for a week or 4 days of hands-on welding. And the beauty about being on a campus is we have places they could stay, and people in town who can train them, and then they could go on their way. I mean, that's just, it's that kind of creative solutions that we will need to find. However, it's hard to be creative like that when you don't at least have a home base. And we need that kind of, I nearly think of it, we've talked about it as a hub where people could come together. You have to have some face-to-face with welding. You have to have face-to-face with carpentry. I mean, but some of it can be remote, but there are just some things you have to do face-to-face. So that's a lot of conversations, David, and being creative. And I think we've demonstrated that we're an innovative college, and we are really willing and excited to do those things and talk to our two-year partners. That's why I started out with the slide I started out with is we all rely on each other across the state as a system to provide workforce training.
All right, any more questions or comments?
Dean Gray, this is Heather O'Hara with the Montana Hospital Association. Thank you so much for your presentation. Very helpful. And I have a junior in high school, so this information is even more helpful to me other than just being a SWIB member. But I'm wondering, it kind of dovetails in regards to what David just asked, and maybe you don't know, but I'm curious, are there some career pathways? Are there some industries that if you were to get this wonderful new building and whatnot, that you're looking to add to your curriculum in regards to, so that's what I want to know.
Okay, I was just sitting in a meeting today with faculty. We have a medical lab assisting program that is designed and developed. We have no place to put it. Obviously, we cannot put a medical lab in Bozeman Health, or they have work to do, and we can't be in there messing around. So that's one example of something we're not going to be able to do until we have a facility. We want to do welding fabrication. We want to add a lot more to our allied healthcare side, some information technology. Construction and building trades. We just have a carpentry program. It's very basic. We could do heavy equipment. We could do more. We are offering HVAC. It's every industry. I probably have a list of 3 programs we could be offering. And also, and it's not just Gallatin College, all of our 2-year partners, we don't run a program unless industry is telling us to run the program. And so it comes from you all telling us, we really need this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me know if you need a tour.
Hi, this is Shane Edswanger from the Great Falls Chamber. I was just able to jump on the call. And just got through meeting with the base commander at Malmstrom Air Force Base, and I heard when I jumped on the conversation around welding and needing welding folks. And as we have the new missile system coming into the state, again, we're working closely with Northrop Grumman on that and timing and things. But they were just talking about the need for master welders and master electricians and masters in all these trades. And so those are conversations we need to be having now with our high schoolers, so they can go and get their welding certification, dual credit program. So again, we're ready to ramp up when the missile system, is ready to go, and are going to need these specialized trades industries to participate in it. It's going to be, again, a huge project. But not only that, not only for folks to work on the program, but as people who are close to their journeyman, they're going to get their masters, and we're going to also need welders to backfill those people that will be working you know, on the missile system. But not only that, you know, again, with the base here at Malmstrom, they're still going to need welders to do the ongoing daily, weekly, monthly projects on the base as well too. So again, the need for trades and those folks is going to be crucial in the next coming years, definitely just with the Sentinel project coming up.
Thanks, Shane. Anything else? Stephanie, you're more than welcome to stay on if you want, but I think we'll probably move on to our next item on the agenda, if that's okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity and all your hard work.
Great, thank you. Next item on our agenda is the opportunities that we as SWIB have to perhaps support different things going on with the legislature and in different agencies right now. So I guess whoever wants to chime in on these, maybe Wes, I don't know how much you know about some of these, but let's start with the first bullet point that you put there, supporting and focusing on streamlining communications and challenges relating to licensing reciprocity. You know, that's a big one that we
So these are the goals that from the September meeting, the committee had identified as actionable goals, and that we would leave on future agendas to go over and discuss, as well as hopefully have some action on. And so the first goal listed was the support and focus on streamlining communications and challenges related to licensing reciprocity. I know that's been a concern. We had at the last SWIB meeting in October a presentation on Title 37 reform. That's making its way through the legislative process now. And so that was just something that was brought up as far as the desire to have more focus on how the SWIB, if anything, could be a part of that process.
I've been hearing some good things, and I think some is going to be able to be handled through rules, but I think it also is going to depend on what happens too, as you said, the Title 37 with the boards and commissions and things like that too, right? Kind of.
Mm-hmm. So my assumption would be more to come on that, and if and when legislation is available, you would all be welcome in your professional capacities to provide testimony if you wish.
Very good. Red tape task force recommendations related to workforce issues. Not hearing much yet. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move along. Anybody hearing anything on legislative workforce priorities from the governor? Representative Buttrey mentioned the incumbent worker training program. That had a good hearing and good support on that. So hopefully we'll see some more things from other sources. Anybody else hearing things that are SWIB related?
Hi, David. This is Barb Wagner. I just wanted to thank you and the other committee members that showed up in support at that hearing. I thought it really helped the hearing go much better and was very helpful for the committee to know there was such broad-based support. So thank you for that.
Great. Okay, and Heather's posted a comment. House Bill 101 heard tomorrow is going to be heard tomorrow around licensing reciprocity for out-of-state practitioners by the Board of Behavioral Health. Okay.
The only comment I'd make to that, David, if I may, is I don't remember, it was during the hearing that Barb was just talking about, that you went in and supported with Representative Buttrey's committee business and house. someone made a comment that, behavioral health is impacting our workforce and how important it is to support our behavioral health and increasing the, those individuals that are able to practice in the state of Montana. So if you're interested in House Bill 101, it's being heard tomorrow in House Human Services at 3 p.m.
It's a really good point, Heather. Really, really good point for all of us to think about. Anything else? Is this at this point, Wes, I guess, do we have enough to share a report at the next meeting? Is this what we're looking for from you, these subcommittees?
I think so, unless you all have something additional you'd like to provide. I have a couple of updates that I can give with a few minutes remaining before any other public comment is requested.
Perfect.
Thank you. One of the items that has been asked before is if SWIB members can provide testimony on behalf of the SWIB to legislative committees or in hearings. The answer to that is yes and no. And we may see a SWIB bylaw update based on this, just so that there is clear direction for the future. The rules determined by the Department of Labor and Industry Legal Counsel are that board members are, of course, welcome from their public capacity and their professional capacity to provide whatever testimony they so wish. And that's where we did have some SWIB members, which was great. Whether or not you mention the SWIB as part of your testimony is up to you, but we would not advocate for you to utilize your role on the SWIB as part of the testimony. In addition to that, if the SWIB would like to have influence on any type of testimony and actually provide that testimony on behalf of the SWIB itself, the rules around that are to have a full vote of the board and obtain approval from the governor's office. If those things are in line, then we would have the ability for the board to provide written or in-person testimony actually on behalf of the board. So again, we may see this in a SWIB bylaw update in the future, but it at least provides some clarity around that question that we've received in the past. I am happy to keep you all updated on any legislative items that come around. If any of you would like me to do that, just let me know. We are tracking some of the legislative items, and I'm happy to provide you with what I can if that's of interest. And as I mentioned earlier, the presentation that Dean Stephanie Gray provided is on the SWIB meetings site and has been. So it was posted yesterday, I think. But if you have any questions about that, or if it needs to be sent out to anyone else, please let me know.
So Wes, do you have a preference list or something that you're keeping on these type of bills? Or is there a list that you would share, could share, or?
Not necessarily have a running list to be shared, but if there's legislative items or as we're updated, I'm happy to share those should you wish. I can also share them with you, Chair Smith, if you would like, and then you can determine whether or not if you think that the committee could benefit from being a part of any of that. But or if any of you would like additional information as those things become public, I'm happy to share them out as well, just to the broader distribution list of items that are happening. Even like Heather identified. Thank you, Heather. Just things like knowing when the different bills will be heard is helpful for all of us to know and understand.
I think, Wes, if you see something and a heads up, I mean, the way the legislature works is all of us on this side of the table need to work together and share information. And like you said, Heather's heads up on 101 and what it means to other businesses other than just the medical side of things is important. So thank you. That was a good framing on that, Heather. Thank you. Any other workforce issues you want to discuss at this point, and then we'll open it up for public comment. Okay, I will open up this meeting to any public comment from members of the public that are online or watching or have any comments to share.
Hi, David. I've got a comment.
I
I would
go right
love to-
ahead, Sarah. Yeah.
I would love to congratulate you, David, and Barry, who's here with me in Chicago. For those of you that don't know, last night, Build Montana, the Montana Contractors Association Education Program, received the National AED Award for Workforce Innovation. And we were honored to be here last night on stage to accept it on David's behalf because he has to be with you in Helena. But it was a great gala in honor of Build Montana and MCA.
Thank you, and thanks for Association of Equipment Dealers too. Is very involved with this too. So a lot of people lifting on a program like that. So hopefully this is the first step towards something being broader and more permanent in more communities to build workforce. So thanks. Any other public comment? Any final words from staff there, Wes? You have anything, pearls of wisdom?
I think you've heard enough from me. Congratulations to Build Montana and that group. That's a terrific, terrific for the state of Montana and for the program that supports. So thank you all as well, and just keep me posted if there's something I can help you all with. And we look forward to seeing you on January 31st remotely for the full SWIB board meeting.
Great. All right, this concludes the committee meeting at this time, and thanks for joining.